Happy Fasting Tuesday. And we've got a full video for you this Tuesday.
Yeah.
Let's just say we had probably the best weekend / day of our lives on Friday. Very similar to a day we had back in March of this past year. I'll let Karis kind of tell you more about that.
Yeah, so we went in for scans on Thursday and met with our doctor right afterward rather than having to wait. And in our August scans, when she found those 4 new places, part of the reason it took so long to even get the results was that she was having trouble finding the places the radiologist had seen, and she wanted to really verify that this is what they were seeing. And so she's awesome like that. So anyway, we were sitting with her looking at the scans side by side, the August to right now, and everything looked the same. She said, the good news is I don't see any drastic differences on the scans. It's not like these places have exploded. And so we were looking in the general areas, and Chad and I think it's, we both didn't see anything.
They're so small to begin with.
They were like millimeters. And so we had a lot of hard conversation after that, like, okay, we'll probably do surgery. This is what this would mean. This is what this would mean. And
not a whole lot of options.
Yeah, not a whole lot of hope or options, And so our hearts were really heavy Thursday. And then, so we went to bed and got a phone call around lunchtime on Friday from our oncologist again, and she had gotten the radiologist report, and she was like, I'm just going to read this to you. She's like, I don't have any bad news. And so we're like, okay. So she took us through, and basically the 2 places in the right lung are gone, and the 2 places in the left lung are gone. And so Chad and I at that point, as she's explaining this, we're like, okay, like, what does this mean? We're not even together. We're like on the phone separately. And she said, she noticed there were some like vague opacities of these like other places in the lungs that looked similar to these original places that went away. And the radiologist report literally said it looks to be a fungal infection or an atypical pneumonia, but because of the histories, patients with Wilms, it's remarkable. Like, it's worth saying, for them to look at. But our oncologist at that point said, this is not how disease acts. And like, I feel very firmly this is not disease. And so she said, I don't think Cade's like presenting like the atypical pneumonia like we would expect, but if you start turning a fever or coughing, let me know. And then she was like, is anyone smiling yet? I'm like, we're not together.
Right,
so we're like, are we supposed to be smiling yet? Like,
yes, that's good news, but are you going to say anything else?
Like, they're gone. I think in our hearts we just hope they'd be smaller, like, or there'd be some sort of a difference in these 4 places. But to have each, like all 4 of them be gone was just amazing. And so she said, I think we don't do surgery, we don't do anything, because at this point, taking even the scar tissue out, that's what we thought. I think we thought she would say it was these other bigger tumors that had left scar tissue in March. She wanted to even take those places out, which not every oncologist would do, but she just wanted to check them out. But she's like, I'm actually changing my mind. I don't think we should do that. And so we got off the phone with her basically saying, send that boy to school. And so Cade is going to school in the next couple weeks.
We're done.
Yeah.
We're done. Hence,
so
Fasting Tuesday is now Feasting Tuesday.
Yeah.
And we just, we're so thankful. I went home right away. It's just to see Karis, and she had a good friend over, and I walk in the door, and the first person I see is Cade, and he just says, Daddy, I get to go to school. And I was just like, you just want to halfway just bawl your eyes out and halfway just cry or laugh. And it's like, it was just the most full feeling and full day of my life. And it was a tiring weekend, honestly, from the standpoint of we're still this is 3-4 days later, and we're still kind of detoxing from just such good news. But it was so out of the blue, and it was so God, honestly. And so we've been processing with God a lot. And so then something else crazy happened. And I just want to preface this story that none of it is exaggerated or made up. So I'll just tell the story. But I think if you've been tracking with us from the original blog, we joked about with you all how, Cade's got this, and treatment coming up, blah, 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 unless there's a fish in the bucket. And we told you there was a story back in March when we got the original scans back, and they were really good scans. They said, basically they thought all the tumors were dead, which I think they are dead, and they were dead then. And so we're like, okay, but we have 20 more weeks of chemotherapy. Like, God, surely this is not what you want us to do. So, like, you healed Cade. Like, we're done. We should be done. And so we prayed a lot about it and sought counsel from people. We just searched the scriptures and just wanted to hear from God, and realized too that in the Old Testament, Gideon wanted a sign from God as well, and would put a fleece out, and he told God, well, if the fleece is wet and the ground is dry, and then I'll know. And then we forget what he was even asking for, but and then the next morning he said, all right, now if the fleece is dry and the ground is wet, and it could have been the other order, but we said, like, hey, let's do something like that. Let's give God every opportunity to speak, because he's that good. He's better than we think, and he just wants to be with us. So why not give him a shot to blow our minds that way? So I go in the garage. I see this big white bucket I brought home from work, and I was like, okay, I'm going to put that bucket near our pond in the backyard. We have a little like wooded ravine that goes towards the pond. And I put the bucket like about 10 feet off the pond. So it was clearly like away from the pond. And I said, okay, Lord, if you drop a fish in that bucket, we will stop treatment. I will know that Cade is done. He doesn't need any more treatment, and you've healed him. And until then, I'll just keep, trying to hear you other ways, and just go through the plan and keep going. So every week we told Eden, we told the people on the blog, real briefly, a couple different blog posts. We told Eden, our pastor, a few other people, and we were dead serious about it. I checked the bucket, and I expected a fish to be in there eventually.
The kids and I would it would fall on its side sometimes. Like, it would always stay in the same place, it would fall on its side, and we would go pick it up. No fish.
Yeah, there could be like water in it sometimes from rain or whatever, but we knew that it was impossible to get a fish in that bucket unless I even thought like a bird could drop one in there. I didn't care how the fish got in there, but if it's in there, I'm done. And we were gonna have a really awkward conversation with the oncologist at that point, although we told her about the bucket too, so it wouldn't have been that awkward, but it would have been like, hey, we're done, there's a fish in the bucket.
We gotta go.
See you later. So fast forward to Sunday. So we got the good news Friday. Sunday, I am working in the yard, and I've got a shovel and a hose, and I'm doing some yard work, and I look up, and I notice the bucket was on its side, but had rolled near the water. And so I go, and the ravine is kind of steep, so I stand right here, and I use my shovel to get the bucket that's sideways, floating on the edge of the ravine in the water. So there's just a little bit of water in the bucket on its side, so water's kind of in there.
It's never rolled, by the way.
Yeah,
and since March.
So for the first time
we didn't even have a storm, did we?
No, I had some rain, but anyways, it's rained much harder other times. So I grabbed the shovel, I reached down, and I put the shovel where the handle of the bucket is, and I grab it up, kind of nonchalantly just grab the bucket, went up to the shore, and literally in my mind, I'm like, I'm gonna dump this water out, and I wonder if there's a fish in here. And I dump the bucket out, and it's got a little bit of black water in there, and on the shore, this fish is jumping up and down, and I just kind of lost it. It was one of those moments of not surprised, yeah, there's a fish in the bucket. Of course there's a fish in the bucket. Cade's done. Yeah. There's a fish in the bucket. There's not even many fish in our pond. We've never even really caught a fish. That's not true. That was an exaggeration. We had caught a little fish one time. But, man, it was so I tried to call Carrie. She didn't answer. And then I called literally, I think, 5 other people and FaceTimed all of them. And it was Sunday afternoon. And they all were kind of in amazement too. And it was just I think I'm still processing the fish in the bucket story. Probably even more than the scans from Thursday or Friday. But the fish is in our garage in a bucket still. Not really sure what I'm going to do with it, but it it was just like, of course God put a fish in the bucket. Of course, when I picked up the bucket, there's fish in it because we're done. Yeah. So God is so good. Like, he didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't have to put a fish in the bucket. And I keep saying he put a fish in the bucket because he did. Like, I know that bucket laying on its side in the water, like pulling it out, it's not like it's full of a bunch of water. My odds weren't real good. It just, the water was so dark and nasty, like at the bottom of it. I just barely dumped any water out, and this fish flops out. And it was just, that truly was a moment of like on my knees, halfway crying, but also laughing. And so I took a bunch of pictures and video, and yeah, so that was Sunday. And
it's just like those kind of things just build my faith.
Yeah. And
like, I'm sure, you know, in skepticism, it's like we could get to heaven and God could be like, I didn't put the fish in the bucket.
Yeah. But and I'd be like, how? But I would have plenty of, with this one though, like there's a lot of things that I have to be like, no, you put the fish in the bucket. There's no way it could have, like, if the bucket's on its side.
Okay, but I'm saying you probably did put the fish in the bucket. No.
You put the fish in the bucket.
Yeah, but it's just so cool. And I think, you know, as we are coming out of all of this, I was thinking this today, like, we felt the nearness of God through this whole process with Cade, and I know we're going to continue. And I think I always want to come out of things like totally unscathed, and like, oh, that's what God does, is he makes you like not have to deal with anything. And there were so many moments along the past couple months that I've just been shocked at how hard it is to work the ground of my own heart, and like to like keep the soil soft, and to basically stay alive and healthy. Yeah. It requires a lot of work, and I know there's work ahead of us, but I just know that like the promise isn't that there's not going to be work, but that he's going to be with us in the work, and there's reward in our labor, you know. So we wanted to thank all of you. Yeah. I know we have a million times, but truly thank you for praying with us and fasting with us and being part of this. And it has created such a great rhythm in our hearts to fast. I don't really know what we're going to be doing regularly. I know we'll do stuff. I know
might send out some random video updates or devotionals.
Yeah, or and you know, we rescan in 3 months, and then 3 months after that. And so I'm thankful even for that invitation to trust and to walk with God. So you will be hearing from us again. But for right now, we're just thankful that you guys stuck around. It was only supposed to be 18 weeks, and you stuck around for, I think this is our 23rd week or something crazy. But we're really thankful for you, and we are praying with you and for you for things on your own heart. And yeah, we just wanted to say thank you from our family to yours, and that this is our miracle as a group.
Amen. And just to close, I think the lesson, one of the main lessons we've learned throughout this whole thing is, you know, it's Monday night. We make these videos on Monday night, and like the lesson we've learned is, what are we going to do when we wake up tomorrow? Mm-hmm. Tuesday morning comes. Yeah, we've had all these awesome things happen, but like, what is our life about? Like, we're going to wake up and we have a choice, and it's, do we walk with God? Do we believe God? Do we trust God? Or do we walk in our just day-to-day, and do we try and look at our circumstances for joy and peace? Because I know if we would have looked to our circumstances the past year or so, we would not have made it. But we've gotten, I feel like one of the main lessons is, it's kind of simple. We just need to go read our Bible and fall in love with Jesus. And we won't have everything figured out, but we'll at least have the best friend near our side. And like, we need the presence of God, which brings the fruit of the Spirit, which is love,
joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness.
Yeah, those are such good things, and so we couldn't have done this past year without the Holy Spirit and just the truth of who God is. So, thank you so much, and we'll talk to you soon. But have a blast on Feasting Tuesday.
Yeah.
And I hope everyone literally, like, pat yourself on the back, go get some ice cream, or like go to some burger joint or something and feast your heart out. Yeah. anyways, we love you guys. Thanks.